would now like to invite Ms. Wong Preschool Program Manager of Dyslexia Association of Singapore, to present her research on the positive impact of early literacy intervention. An enthusiastic and passionate educator, Ms. Carly has more than 20 years' experience of early childhood education, where she has taught young children, mentored teachers, supported parents and caregivers in a wide range of settings from within the classroom to community outreach. Ms. Carly.
Hello, good morning. Is this volume okay with everyone? Yes? Okay, right. Thank you for coming to this session. Good afternoon. My name is Caroline. I'm with the Dyslexia Association. I'm the preschool program manager. I'm here to share with you today the positive impact of ELI, early literacy intervention. Now, early literacy intervention is measurable. According to a meta-analysis by the NELP, National Early Literacy Panel, doing analysis for intervention, they looked at kindergarten and preschool programs, literacy-based interventions, homeschool programs involving parents, and even shared reading interventions, code-focused interventions. So they looked at a multitude of intervention programs, and they found that it is actually the nature and the intensity of the instructional activities that make the difference. So saying, looking at our program evaluation data from last year, 2016, with all the students coming in, as you can see, with 294 students, of which 6-year-olds, we have over 200 students. And in the program, coming in at various points of time, on average, 62 hours, over 2 hour a week session in groups of up to 5 students, we saw that in these 5 areas, whereby we looked at alphabet knowledge at the base, referring to sequencing the letters, knowing the upper and lowercase letters, moving forward to phonogram knowledge in orange, which is letter sound association, and then sight words, moving to reading and writing, reading and spelling. So all these 5 areas, between pre and post tests, we can see that improvements are made, and it is possible. If we looked at it in terms of effect sizes, you will be able to see that in terms of alphabet knowledge and sight words, there are impact, and the most significant is actually in terms of phonogram, reading, spelling, and as a total, the impact is great. Now, what do I mean by 2 hours a week? What do we cover? These areas that you see there is what we do in 2 hours every week. Not just a snapshot, but everything. Oracy, vocabulary, like Shitlin mentioned, is very important. Without vocabulary, they can't talk, they can't communicate, and they won't benefit from instruction. And moving forward, alphabet knowledge. If you don't know the letters of the alphabet, you will have difficulty learning. Letter sound association in terms of phonograms, that is a challenge, but we noticed that if kids master or have some knowledge of letter sound association, they can beginning to crack the code for reading and spelling. And you might be wondering, right smack in the middle, what do I mean by social emotional learning and Orton-Gillingham principles? Well, in terms of school readiness, kids need to know how to integrate what they know into their reality in the classroom, in a social dynamics, all around them. So social and emotional learning is part of literacy, it's integrated in. In fact, we have a special kit developed just for this, and it has all the literacy components in it. Of course, Alton Gillingham's principles is our guiding light. I will now share with you my favorite. In fact, this is my new favorite. Okay, I'm going to share with you a case study of this child that you see here. He's from our satellite classroom over at Gimmerlink. He came into the program sometime last year. Now, if you take a look, you can see him right here. He's very attentive, listening to his teacher, who, by the way, is right over there, Miss Atiba. With a group, he's engaged. He's attentive in intervention, working with Miss Jacqueline. And he's socially savvy. He knows how to interact with his friends. He can talk and he can play and he can have social company. This is his work, his latest work that I can find up to May. This is where he is now. This is what he did for reading, for spelling, and it's his handwriting. And right on your extreme left, he is reading and sequencing the words into a logical sentence. You might be wondering what's all the stars there. Actually, it's positive direct feedback. Like Angela said when she did the assessment, when the child did something right, immediately there's the hooray, and the kid is motivated to do more. Now, with kids with difficulty reading, I love you, but I need you to do more. That defies logic. So what we did is, if you get it right, I give you direct feedback right now. That's a star. Very good. What about this one? Oh, wonderful. Another star. So immediate direct feedback. The child knows that I've got it right. Every word is a hooray. It's a direct positive feedback. You know right there and then you got it right. But if you got it wrong, then that's okay. The teacher will do a bracket at the side. Correction is immediate. It's scaffolded. The child knows. And the child's motivated to do more. Now, you might be wondering, that's where he is now, but where was he then? Now, I'm going to show you a little clip, just a short one. That's Miss Mala, the principal of the kindergarten. I'm showing her interview clip because sometimes teachers do move on. But Miss Mala, she happens to know her kids very well in school. And let's hear what she said.
He was like lost in a classroom. He is distracted very easily and then not able to focus. Even like for 10 minutes, he wasn't able to focus. So it was difficult for the teachers to get him to do work.
And the therapist, Jacqueline, when she first worked with him,
he will come in shouting, making funny noises as if he's a helicopter. Yeah, so he go all the other funny noises coming out from him. So it's very disruptive.
Was he able to come up to you and ask you for those things?
Full sentence wise, like proper asking?
Yeah.
Not really.
and here's his earlier works when he first started. His challenges were executive function, and of course communicative difficulties, and an obvious literacy gap. He was at that point of time a K2 student, and he is actually doing his K2 year again, and what you saw just now were improvements that he made. Now, if I were to compare his learning difficulties to that of an iceberg, literacy is what we target. We can see it so clearly. But his other challenges, like Angela said, school readiness, is he ready? At one look, people might be put off with his challenges. We need to work concurrently. And the impact cannot be underestimated. This is where he is. Oops, sorry.
I got two guys. Run! The police catch me!
He's talking compared to the helicopter noise he was making earlier. And he wanted friends. The therapist felt that the first thing when he stepped into the room, he wanted friends. He craved for friendship, but he doesn't know how to interact. Now he has the skills because it's a step-by-step teaching, direct instruction. And what his principal has got to say?
Last year, somewhere around last year, third term, the mother gave birth at home. He was able to tell us that the mother had a baby at home, which previously wouldn't be able to do it.
That is a kid who cannot remember things. Now he's saying, Mommy gave birth to a baby at home, and it was real. The latest update I've got, the child actually advocated for himself. He wanted to go for an excursion, which he was not allowed to, and he talked to different people who finally helped convince them that, he can go for it, and it is possible. Okay, here is his very early piece of work. If you can see on my right, from March, moving into July last year. That is what the child achieved. That's what Nabil achieved. It's not so much what we do, it's what he's capable of achieving. He was then. This is now. Check out the very neat sentence writing and his reading and his spelling. If I were to compare Nabil to popcorns, I would say this is where he is now. Sweet, yes, but still a handful. Ready for school. But earlier on, I think he looks kind of like this with his challenges. But I think the pivoting factor was the school, was the intervention coming together, and his family supporting it because they feel less alone. And together, we sort of, I wouldn't call us pressure cooker, but I think we help make the popcorn cook. And this is where he is. With more good things to come, we hope that he has a good time in primary school. Last year, his teacher said that he was always noisy, distracting, disruptive, not following instructions. Okay, tip of the iceberg underneath. But now, his teacher this year, Ms. Atiba, said, he can copy and write neatly. Wow. Okay, his confidence is there. The first thing you can feel is composed, attentive. His principal actually said, and his therapist actually say, he's socializing. Last year, he wanted friends, but he wasn't able to integrate in. Now he can make friends. He's starting to read, spell, talk meaningfully, which is so important. If nobody can understand you, I'm sorry, kid. But he can remember things. Important to keep your promises now because he can advocate for himself. So we hope that moving forward, before the year is out, more good things can happen for him. The impact of early literacy intervention, I cannot emphasize enough, is impactful. And it actually helped children like Nabil nailed it and succeed. Okay, moving forward. Nabil's challenges were basically self-regulation in the mainstream classroom. If you can't function in a regular classroom, you are in trouble. But intervention helped collaboratively with the school, and he's now proactive. He is motivated not only to learn, but he's curious about learning. If you remember from the first photo, he was actually leaning forward. He's not seated next to the teacher. He's 2 to 3 kids away, but he is leaning forward. My favorite analogy is that of a rubber duck, the spirit of the rubber ducky. To coin Principal Nimala's word, resilience. She noticed that for the last few years, whereby kids walked out from the early intervention classroom, they seemed to share something in common, and she called it resilience. In a nutshell, the rubber ducky is something that you can't sink. You can squish it very hard, it makes a noise. You can try to drown the duck, but I'm sorry, it just pops right up no matter what you do. So that is a bit like resilience, and there's actually a theory for that. And it talks about protective experiences, positive experiences that helps combat negative hardships or toxic stress. If you look at it mentally, there is mental anxiety, you have your stress, I don't know what to do, the panic attacks, and physically, you might have physical challenges for some, or it could be as simple as gross and fine motor skills that is not age appropriate and you're falling behind. And of course, if you have got specific learning difficulties, SPLDs, then all that might lead to, I can't. And you know you can't. But how do we change the I can't to I can? Relationship. If a child feels secure, I'm accepted, and you think I can, and you're my cheerleading team, and you go, hooray! You did it. The child will be motivated to do more, come back for more. And if the child is stuck, you give the child that perceived control. Do you want to do this first or that first? Or you can give hints, scaffold, like OJ, scaffold. And with that, lots of practice and practice and practice and practice, the child gets it. Immediately, the child knows, I can. So, resiliency makes a difference, and it starts with relationship. Not only in the early intervention classroom, it can happen in a regular classroom, at home. It can happen anywhere. If an adult were to give a child just 5 minutes of undivided attention a day, the child will fare well emotionally. And, of course, self-regulation. You will notice that I emphasize the word lots of opportunities, because most of the times kids get told what to do, but opportunities to do it, not necessary. So if you can craft opportunities for the child to try and to rehearse, to practice till you get it right without scolding, and say, okay, can you try it again? Try it again? Great, now you got it right. And you moved on. That is a valuable gift. With it, the child can achieve. And of course, feedback is very important. Vygotsky has his theory, which I won't bore everyone, but basically he talks about relationships, the support of a knowledgeable person supporting the child moving forward. And most of our kids may start at the last stage when they come in, because there's a lot of things that they don't know. And those are the literacy gaps that we see. But if we look beneath and we work with them, the skills that they need concurrent to literacy skills, they get there. So we need to target the top, the bottom, everything together, and of course, he can make it. Bronfenbrenner also has his theory, and I won't bore you with it, but the relationships between the system makes a difference. You have Vygotsky, the big culture, the big environment. You also have the inner environment. That is the child, that is the relationship. Put two together, you have effective intervention. And last but not least, early intervention, working with schools, families, make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carla. It's always heartening to know that with early literacy intervention and with the right support, of course, these children can help realize their potential and unlock their potential. All right, thank you for that. We'd like to invite Ms. Geksan to present a token of appreciation to Ms. Carla.